नमस्कार दोस्तों और आप सभी को स्वागत है इन माय चैनल 1971 वॉर बुक सीरीज। आज हम बात करेंगे विथ विंग कमांडर देवेंद्र जीत सिंह क्लेयर, नोन पॉपुलरली एज विंग कमांडर डीजे क्लेयर, जिनका पिता थे मेजर जनरल हरदेव सिंह क्लेयर। तो फादर एंड सन both were in the Bangladesh Liberation War. हाँ, in the same Eastern Front. Wing Commander Deejay Kler was actually in the 22nd Squadron of the Indian Air Force और वो एक फ्लाइंग ऑफिसर थे फ्लाइंग द Gnat फाइटर एयरक्राफ्ट्स। और उनके पिता मेजर जनरल हरदेव सिंह क्लेयर was the commander of the 95 Mountain Brigade and was in the role of a brigadier in the Indian Armed Forces, जिन्होंने बांग्लादेश की आजादी के लड़ाई में बख्शीगंज, जमालपुर, टंगाइल और बाद में ये तीन शहर तो लिबरेट किए थे ही, और उसके साथ पाकिस्तानी फौज के अगेंस्ट फाइट करते करते वो ढाका तक पहुंच गए थे एंड वाज इनसाइड ढाका ऑन द मॉर्निंग ऑफ 16th of December, जब पाकिस्तानी फौज ने एक्चुअली सरेंडर कर दिया था टू द इंडियन आर्म फोर्सेस एंड टू द मुक्ति बाहिनी। फादर वाज ऑन द ग्राउंड एंड सन वाज इन द एयर। मेजर जनरल एचएस क्लेयर तो आज जिंदा नहीं है, लेकिन वी विल नो अबाउट हिम and including the experiences of Wing Commander Deejay Kler from the man himself. Let's welcome Wing Commander Deejay Kler, Vayu Sena Medal.
So I would like to invite you, sir, Wing Commander Devender Jeet Singh Kler, Vayu Sena Medal, in this program. And first of all, before starting to talk about your own experiences in the 1971 war, let's know a bit about your own family background and how you got selected in the Indian Air Force and how was life before this, including a bit about your father, sir.
Well, to begin with, it's nice to be with you, Jyoti. Everybody calls me DJ. Nobody knows my name is Devender Jeet. My wife never knew it. My name was Devender Jeet.
Okay.
Well, after a long time of marriage, she asked me, what does DJ stand for? So then I told her.
Okay.
So the only person who ever called me Devender Jeet was my principal, Jack Gibson.
Okay.
Then Devender Jeet became DJS in the NDA. And when I joined the Air Force, it became DJ, the initials. And when I went to America and came back, it became DEEJY.
Okay.
So my name is Wing Commander DEEJY Deejay Kler Kler, and the Air Force has been kind enough to give me a VM for gallantry. So that's my tailpiece. So Wing Commander Deejay Kler, VM G is my full name. I'm from the Kler clan, the son of late General HS Kler. My father was a signalman, but more of an infantryman than a signaller. He was from the Corps of Signals, but he was a paratrooper and did a lot more time out of signals than he did in signals.
Okay.
He's one of the two Mahavir Chakras from the Corps of Signals. Incidentally, the Corps of Signals was started by my grandfather, who was in the Skinner's Horse during World War I, and then after that came down to start the Signal Corps at Jabalpur. So we go 300 years back into the Indian Army, the Kler family. I studied in Mayo College, Ajmer, and at the age of 15, I thought I'd run away from studies. So I accidentally wrote my NDA exam because I came home on leave and I saw my cousin, later Lieutenant General HS Kler, my Masi's son, preparing for an exam. So I asked him, what are you doing? He says, preparing for the NDA. Exam is about a few months away and here's a form for you. So he gave me a form which I filled up. No studies, no nothing. We went and wrote an NDA exam. And lo and behold, I passed, he failed.
Okay.
So ultimately I joined the 32nd NDA course, and 6 months later, Pana came and joined up in the 33rd course. We have an interesting interview with another course mate of mine called Wing Commander Singh, who has died recently, and how we had to go and steal a form for him to get him into my course. So when Panag came to the NDA, he had Vice Singh standing there. He says, Panag, start controlling your one-term junior to me. Panag had a nice, quiet smirk, and in the end, he had the last laugh when he retired. He said, you guys pushed out of the Air Force as wing commanders. I lasted as a lieutenant general and was an army commander in two commands. So he got the last laugh. Incidentally, he's also the father of the famous actress Gul Panag. And General Panag has served a very nice nation, the Indian Army, and is very well known. He writes for the print every week. That's my cousin's side, where I have another general, his elder brother. And from my father's side, I have a lieutenant general in the armored corps called HS Kler, and a air marshal from the Air Force called HS Kler. So that's the Kler clan, but it ends at that. None of our generation kids have gone into the army.
Okay.
So that's full stop. Indian Army, Indian Air Force, Indian Navy.
Right.
I studied, like I said, in the NDA, in the Mayo College, then NDA, Flying College, and got my commission with the 101st Pilots Course in '68. My father was a colonel who was commanding, who was the G1 in 19 Div in Baramulla in '65 when my call letter came for NDA, and I was to join the course. And I know that Nehru had just died, and I had to take a flight and go to NDA with the reporters inside. During my tenure in NDA, my father rose from a colonel. He went to DS Staff College, became SI Staff College, CI in Wellington, and then got posted out as a brigade commander by the time I got my pilot officer's rank.
Okay.
He commanded 95 Mountain Brigade, which he later led into Dhaka in the 71 war. And he was, as per the Red Cross, the liberator of Dhaka. He was the first man to enter Dhaka and went to Niazi's office, removed him from his chair, put his flag, removed his flag, and kept it with him as a souvenir. This flag of the Niazi was with me, which I gave to the Eastern Command headquarters. The flag of the last Senapati of the Eastern Pakistan, now Bangladesh, is now lying in the office of the Senapati, the GOC&C Eastern Command in Fort William.
Okay.
My father got a Mahavir Chakra in the war in 71, and he had got an AVSM in 65 for the capture of Haji Pir. In the Burma War, he was mentioned in dispatches, so he was well decorated. I mentioned dispatches, AVSM, and a Mahavir Chakra. He led 95 Mountain Brigade from Tura to Dhaka in 16 days, and it was a task which was considered impossible or unthinkable by General Jacob, but a fellow paratrooper in General Jagjit Singh Arora was full faith in Hardev Kler, my father, got him to sand model it. They did a sand model, and Sant Singh was the enemy force commander. He marked day by day his progress and how he would make it, and how he would ask for a paradrop at Tangail for reinforcements, and use the paratroopers in their actual role for the first time. He did the link up at Tangail, where fortunately father and son were in the same theatre of war together. He on the ground.
Son were at the same war, same theatre.
In the same theatre of war in Tangail, in the paradrop, where the paras were jumping. My father was on the ground to receive them and do the link up, and I was escorting the complete the formation of aircraft which was going in for the drop.
Okay.
So I didn't know he was on the ground, and he didn't know I was up in the air, but we were together in the same theatre of war. It was linked up later on by reporters and with messages. My father picked up an injury after his capture of Kamalpur. He blew up on a mine his Jeep blew up on a mine, and at that time his GOC then was Robert Steele, who blew up his, who lost his soles of his feet. And my father was thrown up, he hurt his spine and he hurt his knees.
Mm-hmm.
And the general was replaced with Gandharv Nagra,
Mm-hmm.
and my father continued the way he was. So he was asked to take over as a general, and he said, "No, I will continue the war as a brigadier."
Okay.
So he fought the war as a brigadier under Gandharv Nagra, and they went all the way across. His jacket took 8 holes, bullet holes. He didn't know about it, where and how, but not a single one hit him.
Mm-hmm.
He was sleeping on a sleeping bag. He turned his head, and there was a whole machine gun burst, which entered the sleeping bag. And like he said, a cat has 9 lives. Hardev Kler had probably 11 because he survived so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the war, all his souvenirs are now lying in 95 Mountain Brigade, 95 Brigade now it is called. And I presented them in Kasoli, where they've made a hall called the Kler Hall of Fame, which is now an auditorium also.
Okay.
The Battle of Jamalpur was the highlight for the Maratha Light Infantry, who got their battle honors for that also. And my father got a lot of glory. The Time magazine put him on the cover, on the first page. The Life magazine put him on the first inside page. And he got a lot of publicity by everybody. And he was judged as one of the finest army military commanders.
Mm-hmm.
And a lucky man. That's his story. Later on in life, his legs got bowed. I had to get them operated. He had a stent put in, which got defective, and he had lost a leg. And ultimately, at the age of 90, when he lost his leg, I kept him alive for 2 years with his memoirs. He published his book called 60 Days to Dhaka. And in one of his conversations with him, I said, "See, Dad, what you have given for Bangladesh." He said, "So what if I lost a leg? They got their independence. And I'm very proud that East Pakistan is not there anymore." So he sacrificed his leg, as far as we are concerned, for the liberation of Bangladesh after that blow up in the mine and the injury to his spine.
Mm-hmm.
My father is no more, but the legacy lasts, and a lot of Mukti Bahini Yodhas who meet me during the winter interlude when they come down for the Vijay Divas celebrations to Calcutta. Some of them are still around and alive, who fought the war with him, who trained under him. One significant man who I have not met for so very, very long and wanting to meet is a man called Tiger Siddiqui, who my father trained, and then he is the man who accompanied him right from Tangail onwards to Dhaka.
Right.
And Tiger Siddiqui, of course, now is not a very popular man in Bangladesh, but I still look forward to meeting him somewhere, somehow. But I still think he's called Tiger Siddiqui, and he's a great man, a personality of his own. A lot of people have written a lot of things about my father, and a lot of things that he has done are still remembered. General Panag thinks he's one of the finest people with the finest strategy and the battle planning that Indian Army has ever had, in the words of General Panag, quote unquote. And that's life as far as my father is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I'm concerned, I was a young lad in number 22 Squadron.
22 Squadron, right, sir?
That's right. It's called the Sabre Slayers, particularly after the Battle of Boira, which is ranked as one of the top 7 battles of the aviation warfare, where 22 Squadron Gnats shot 3 Pakistani Sabres in Boira, and we picked up 3 Veer Chakras. Wing Commander Roy Massey, then Flight Lieutenant Don Lazarus, and Flight Lieutenant M.A. Ganapati, who shot 3 sabres in this encounter in the Battle of Boira, as it is called, where they were attacking our Indian troops and firing at them indiscriminately. We got there, and I'm part of that force. I'm not one of the ones who was shot down any aircraft. I was part of that boiler force. I did a lot of shooting down of naval warfare, ships, tanks, troop trains, bridges, a lot of help to the army.
These were
And what is
Pakistani
the particular?
vessels, right, sir? Pakistani
Yes,
vessels.
that's right. Pakistani troops, when the war was declared, I flew 22 missions across the border. And a significant one that I remember very clearly is being shot down, my aircraft being shot while going into rescue an army APC burning in the midst of a rivulet, and which was stuck. The army APC belonged to the 7th Punjab, and the troop tank team, the team inside the armored personnel carrier were trapped inside. The carrier was on fire, and they couldn't get out. So we went in after we had gone to Chittagong to strike Chittagong refinery, but it was already on fire. And for that, my friend Amukti Bhaini, pilot, squadron leader, you know his name, flipping Mukti Yoda, who's a very famous pilot, who's
Samsul
just died.
Alam, Group Captain Samsul Alam.
Shamshur Alam.
Yeah.
Did a fantastic job, I must say, and using an otter with rockets and machine guns set that thing on fire, just as the Navy came in to destroy them. So we were coming back with all our armament load when the FAC called us their Khulna to say that at Daulatpur, this tank was stuck in the rivulet. So I asked permission from my Don, because he says, Kler. I said, yes. He says, Kler, your namesake is burning in this APC. I took permission from my leader, Don Lazarus, and we both decided to go in to rescue this team. All our attempts to get them more or less did not produce any results, because that hornet's nest, that machine gun which was sitting there, was firing away. Till I decided to do something very crazy, and that was to fly at absolute water level, really low, get in front of them and fire as close as I could, which I did. I destroyed that machine gun which was firing at them. But as I pulled up, I took a hit, and my engine got damaged with some ground fire. And thereafter, my aircraft started wobbling, and I informed Lazarus that I had been hit. Don told me, eject if you can't control the aircraft. And I said, no, I can control it, but it's like a bucking rodeo horse. So I turned back towards India, and he said, I'm going back, because Calcutta was under smog, which was floating onto the runway, and we were running low on fuel. So Don Lazarus told me, okay, try and make it back. If you can't, eject. That's when the radar controller came up, and it was Radha Krishnan who said, DJ, don't worry, I'll take you to Jessore, an abandoned airfield by the Pakistani Air Force, which had just left and withdrawn from there. Bucking like a rodeo horse, cranking sounds coming, and I could see the fuel gauge going down, it was just going down. And it was more or less close to empty. So he came in and he lined me for Jessore, and I was coming down beautifully to line up with the runway, and suddenly at about 5,000 feet, I saw, my God, the runway was blocked with boulders. So I yanked the aircraft up, and I said, pulled up, and I said, can't land on this runway. So Radhakrishna was very reassuring. He says, don't worry, just turn right slightly, and then he directed me, I'm bringing you straight to Dum Dum on a reciprocal run. So I lined up and was coming down there. I said, it's fuel straight. I said, 0. I cannot, but my engine is still running. As we were closing in, and I was descending, he kept telling me 40 miles, 30 miles. At about 15-20 miles, I said, I think I can't read the fuel gauge anymore whatsoever. There is nothing there. And I'm still in clouds. I can't see anything. He said, don't worry, you're aligned with the runway. I said, 800 feet, and my engine, I could feel was wiring down. I said, yes, I think I've had a flame out. And I've crossed 500 feet and I can't eject. He says, don't worry, you're right in front, lined up for the runway. And that's the time I saw an aircraft going right in front of me. it was one of my squadron mates called Velankar who couldn't land and was decided to go down. So I knew I was aligned with the runway. I was going down the center. I just pushed the stick forward on a flamed out engine. The runway came up at about 150 feet. I saw the runway. I eased out and I landed. And I said, thank God. And the huge runway, I said, I'm not using any brakes because that fellow is also running low on fuel. I kept rolling and rolling and rolling, and Dum Dum was over 3,000 meters. So I more or less moved to the end of the runway, but the aircraft stopped completely. It jumped out, pushed it to the side, and Velankar landed. Brought an aircraft back, damaged aircraft, did a flame out landing. Well, I was given a shabash by my boss, and of course, it was war, so we got an emergency engine, plugged it in. By the end of the war, we were flying it again. So that's how life is in the war. The one thing can happen. I finished the war with the end sorties, and I was very happy. I got a commendation for gallantry later on. I was told that my award went up the same day my father got a Mahavir Chakra. So they didn't want to give a family 2 chakras. That is one of the reasons that I take solace in it, that I didn't get a chakra. I got a gun chakra. I got a commendation for gallantry.
Right.
But nevertheless, recognition was there, and that's what matters. So that's as far as the war was concerned, and it was very interesting. Another very interesting episode is about the first high-ranking prisoner of war was a chap called Brigadier. I'm forgetting the name. I'm forgetting. Anyway,
I guess.
Brigadier Kler. He was captured by my father, and he was taken prisoner and was brought to Dum Dum in the evening. And I was coming back from the mess, nice and happy after a few drinks, and I was going to meet an aircraft from the Pakistan International Airlines, not from Pakistan, from the International Aid, which was being flown by an American with a co-pilot from the ex-Pakistani Airlines. As I came out of the Dum Dum gate, somebody said Kler because it was written on my overall, and I saw somebody with stars. I said yes. I came closer. I saw collar tabs, and I gave him a salute, and knowing he was a senior officer. I said, I'm Kler. He says, I'm Brigadier Kler, and I surrendered to your dad this morning. I said, oh my God! I was thrilled because I had heard my father has grown up on a mine, and I was looking for him in all hospitals, and nobody could tell me where he was. I said, you saw my dad standing? He said, very much. I surrendered to him this morning. I said, wow, I was so happy. I went to hug him when the army people came close by. Hold it. So I said, all right, have a drink. I gave him a bottle I was carrying. He said, no, I can't drink. But when the guards were a little low, he says, will you do me a favor? Here is a letter. You can read it, but can you post it? I said, okay. This is a letter to my family that I'm alive. I said, no problem, Brigadier. Your family will know tomorrow that you are alive. Oh, he said, don't leave that to me. So he went away very happy. I went away very happy knowing my father is all right. And I had another drink, and I walked up to this international aircraft, which was bringing tentage and medical supplies for Bangladesh. I went there, met with the captain, which one of my usual things, had a quick drink on the aircraft. And I told that co-pilot, who was Pakistani, that when you're going back, post this letter in Karachi. And apparently he did that because when he came back 2 days later, he confirmed to me that he had posted the letter.
Okay.
All went well, and years later, I mean a little while later, I got a letter. Flight Lieutenant Kler, Indian Airforce, foreign letter, which had moved here, then everywhere, must have been censored, and and reached me, and headquarters must have put my number and sent it. All it was written was, thank you very much. The letter was delivered, and my family is very happy, very grateful to you. Thank God, no rank, nothing.
Right.
So it was a good job done in good faith for a good man who had the decency of thanking me subsequently. But if he followed red tape, the letter would have never got to his family, and Indian Army would never have allowed it. But these are things now, 50, how many years have passed? A lot of time has passed since the war finished.
Right.
53 years, going to 54. But let me tell you, people don't forget. The governor was remembered about me, and for the first time in the history of Bangla in West Bengal, the governor felicitated me on the 23rd of November and gave me a gallantry award with a citation and a cash prize of 25,000 rupees. So, like I said, old but not forgotten,
Right.
still there, still
Still
around,
remember.
and happy, happy. We celebrate Boira Day every year. Kalaikunda hosts get together. The survivors of 22 Squadron who are there get together, and we are very happy that this battle is recorded as one of the top battles in aviation history, the
Right.
Battle of Boira. And what else you want to know?
A bit about your life after the war, sir. Like you are an expert Gnat fighter pilot, as I know. So,
God was very kind. Nat was in the earlier days called a widow maker, later on called a coffin maker.
okay.
But I think I married the right woman, and who I ran away with in 1971.
Okay.
She was from the royal family in Pakur. It was a love marriage. We saw each other, fell in love, quick courtship. She married me before the war, and before marriage, my own CO tells her, "Don't marry this bastard. He'll be the first to die, and you will become a vidwa." But she nevertheless stayed on, and her duas have probably saved me. I've been through Nats from one squadron to the other. Started with 22, went to 21, then went to 2 squadron. I moved from 2 squadron. I went to instructor's course, came back again to 22 squadron, to 2 squadron again in Kalaikunda. So I did about 5-6 tenures in squadrons of the Indian Airforce, and amassed the maximum flying on the Gnat aircraft and the Jeet aircraft combination in the Indian Airforce. I've been through every possible emergency you can think of, and the aircraft has tried to kill me numerous times. But my wife's dual saved me, and the Gnat failed, and I'm still around to tell a tale. One of the most exciting, enticing, exhilarating, scaring was when after takeoff for doing a test flight, my throttle linkage broke, and my throttle got stuck at 100% full power immediately after takeoff. I brought the stick back, nothing is happening, engine no response, nothing. What to do? Nothing else to do except to try and burn up fuel as fast as possible, either eject or save the aircraft. So I decided I will save the aircraft. Being a kingpin on the Nats, I said, she can't take me down. So I put the undercarriage down, whose limit was 250 knots maximum, recommended 230 knots. And under about close to 8 to 9 G, kept turning around on top of the airfield for a long time with full throttle burning, keeping the speed down. My body taking all the bloody G forces. That's the only way to keep it down. It came down to a reasonable fuel extent. It was bare minimum when the bingo light comes on, which means you have 250 pounds of fuel left. And I turned on and I decided to do a long approach in Kalaikunda from well beyond our range, which is Utkundi, which is about 20 miles away. And I put the LP cock off, by which I shut off all fuel, by which time in any case there was hardly any fuel left in the aircraft, to prevent any sort of an accident and fire in case I have the aircraft crash land or something. And I came in for a long approach and trying to wash off high speed, which was not going off. What to do? But anyway, I came in and I crossed the threshold at about 170 knots, 180 knots, which is the unstick speed. And as I crossed the threshold, I just shoved the bloody stick down. I went over the Kachar, touched down as early as possible on the runway. And I kept telling myself, don't use the tail chute, Deejay Kler. Don't use the tail chute because it will fly out. And the ATC said, we've got the barrier up. I said, oh shit, after saving the aircraft, I'm not going to go into the barrier. So I waited well past the ATC. When my speed dropped, I used the tail chute. Fortunately, or unfortunately, it deployed and flew off, which was nothing new. It normally happened in the Gnat. And then I said, oh my God, I can't use the brakes too much. I don't want to have a tire burst now. So I started applying brakes gradually. but the speed was not washing off. The aircraft was still rolling, and the barrier was coming. The aircraft was rolling, the barrier was coming. One thing was now to decide to go to the barrier or save the aircraft. So I said, save the aircraft after all this shit. So I used the right rudder full, touched the bloody brake, and turned the aircraft into the taxi track. Now the taxi track is not straight, you know that. It was a loop taxi track. So I kept controlling it with my brakes and kept moving, and from Kalaikunda to my squadron dispersal. I reached more or less 3/4 way when the aircraft came to a stop on its own. I opened the canopy and I jumped out. As I jumped out, my CO came charging in a Bak Shetty was his name. We were very good friends. He came and hit me 2-3 times in my stomach and my solar plexus. He says, "You bastard, you could have died." I said, "But I'm alive. I'm still here to tell the tale." He had asked me to eject at least 10 times, and I refused to eject every time. Well, he was thrilled that I'm around because the previous day, while flying on the range, and I pulled up, my rockets hang up, 16 rockets on me, and as I turned back to the runway, to the airfield, again the engine conked out. So I did a dead stick landing with 16 rockets. They were also thrilled. My name was sent up to the command for this particular act of bringing the aircraft back with full throttle stuck. I was awarded a Vayu Sena Medal for gallantry. Even that gallantry award day didn't go without incident. When I was getting my gallantry award, one of my very close friends called Joe Bakshi, while doing aerobatics, crashed in front of me. There I got a bloody VM for gallantry, and there my friend crashed, and the wreckage came in right next to my wife's seat, a piece of the burning aircraft, which made her go mad. So though I got the celebration that evening, she was broken down completely because she saw an aircraft crash in front of her on the parade ground in Delhi. So life has been very interesting in the Air Force. I've been an instructor in Hakimpet fly at the fighter training wing, teaching people on the Iskara, on which I have close to about 800 hours plus. And there also, life was not an easy thing. I had said I could make a monkey fly. So I had a lot of people who went through me, and I have, to my honor, 2-3 chiefs. One of them is Danoa, who remembered and I didn't remember. And it's been a great innings. My most favorite pupils left as CNCs and commands. Mm-hmm. And there to a youngster of mine, while taking off on his first solo, I just left him and I was going to the ATC because in the first solo, the instructor goes to the flying control. As he was taking off, one bloody drunken chap on a cycle came across the runway and hit him. And hit his wing as he was unsticking. The bloody cycle smashed it. The bloody bugger died on the runway. And everybody kept yelling, "Murder! Buggers died. And by the time I saw what happened, I pretty charged back, jumped into a running aircraft, threw the pilot out, and I taxied out and I said, "Everybody shut up. No arty conversations." And I told young Sharan, "Carry on straight, Sharan. Don't worry, you're all right, I'm coming." Mm-hmm. How to come? The runway is blocked. So I took the ATC, I'm taking off on the taxi track, and I took off on the taxi track. I took off on the taxi track in Hakimpet, went straight, caught up with the young Sharan, inspected his aircraft from all around, saw that there was a big hole on his right wing. I said, "Just keep now tasked turning left." So he started turning left slowly. I said 5 degrees, 10 degrees, and I was vomiting with him. He had never seen an aircraft so close because he's only flown dual. So he got scared the first time he saw me. He said, "Don't worry, it's me." And I spotted him and I brought him back for a landing, slowly but steadily, up to his finals. I vomited on him, told him to go ahead and land. And when he touched down, I went around again, I came back and landed behind him. A fact that I brought an aircraft back which was damaged for a pilot who was his first solo. Mm-hmm. I thought the Indian Airforce would be very impressed. I got a bloody warning for taking off on the taxi track. Right. Doing something stupid. But see, I firmly believe that in the adage, no guts, no glory. So that's the adage, and that's how I kept it up. Had a great innings, flew a lot, flew MiGs. I went on to MiGs. I flew the Type 77 which is a beautiful aircraft. I enjoyed flying it. When I converted to the biz, I commanded a squadron in Moftu. Did a lot of flying. We were flying 3 to 4 sorties a day. And I enjoyed myself flying. I can tell you one thing. The best aircraft flying-wise I found was the Gnat, and comfort-wise was the Type 77, which is like a Cadillac. Both called coffin makers. Survived through both of them. And once again I say, it's the blessings of my wife and the duas of my wife and the blessings and duas of my friends who have kept me where I am today. At 75, going, but not one.
Right.
There to tell tale and to have the pleasure of meeting you and talking to you. And that's the story. That's my life. I have a son who's in the United States, who's an immigration attorney there. I have 2 grandsons. My older grandson is 63, a rugby player and a pilot. He's one of the youngest CPL or a PPL holders who went solo on a Cessna at the age of about 14, 15.
Wow.
So he's there. He says he wants to join the American Air Force. I don't know what it's got out. Because as they grow older, they keep changing. My wife, for 53 years, is still with me, going strong.
Mm-hmm.
And a woman who is a great wife, a wonderful homemaker, and a damn good mother and grandmother. I was a green card holder,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately decided that there is no better place to set out and set aside than your own country, India. So we surrendered our green card. I called for my citizenship in the United States. I didn't take it. And I'm very happy here in India, in Calcutta, with friends like you here in Lupi, and with my family and friends all around.
Wonderful, sir. So it's
I'm
really
very fond of
Mhm.
talking to people, acting on the camera. I'm an actor. I do theatre even now. And I'm signed in for 2 plays, one in Tollygunj and one in the Saturday Club, where I'll be performing now, even at this age. I have done TV serials. I've done a very nice serial with Nasiruddin Shah called Tarkash.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, very fond of trying to encourage the younger generation and being a mentor for them, and trying to give them all the facilities and the information and motivation to join the services.
I got to know everything that I wanted to know, sir, especially about you and your father. And I'm really honored to talk to someone from such a great family who has done so much for the for our country and for the services. So I would like to thank you for coming to my program and talking about your experiences and sharing how you fought the 71 war as as a fighter pilot and with your father being on the ground.
One more very interesting thing is when we were asked to destroy enemy shipping because there were troops were moving down at Khulna,
Mm-hmm.
and we were going in for anything that was moving. We were supposed to fire at. I remember pumping 16 rockets into one particular ship, and you heard of men cartwheeling. I have seen a ship cartwheel. I had put 16 rockets into it. She went and flipped on my back, and my God, I nearly hit the aircraft because of so mesmerized
I mean,
that
this
hit
thing
the craft.
exploded and rose up to the sky, right, sir?
It went up and toppled all the way backwards to the inverted loop, as you can call it. And I was damn thrilled about it. But thrilled I was, but that's how life is. So we never knew about this particular operation, and we were just told in orders, shoot at anything that is moving and crawling beyond this particular line, which we did.
Right.
So that is that. Another interesting thing was that one of the 3 pilots shot in the Battle of Boira,
Mm-hmm.
Parvez Mehdi, later on rose to become the chief of the Pakistan Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
And when Don Lazarus, who was the man who shot him down, wrote to him
Mm-hmm.
to congratulate him on his new appointment, he had the decency of writing it back to him. He says, "My dear Lazarus, yes, our paths have crossed, Don didn't say I shot you down. He said our paths have crossed. So he says, yes, our paths had crossed some time back and you got the better of it. And by then Don Lazarus had left the Air Force and become a preacher and he'd gone into religion and rehabilitation, working for the church, which he's still doing. He's stationed in Kunnur, down south. So he said, I'm so happy to know that you're no longer in your, you've gone into better things in life than battlefield and arms. And he wrote back. And that's the kind of gentleman that he was, and the kind of gentleman Don Lazarus was.
Right.
We still have another pilot of ours from our squadron who we called the Eyes. His name was Swarus, Sunit Swarus. What great spotting that man had. He could spot aircraft miles and miles away. He was the man who had spots the Sabres, not on one occasion, two occasions. And even this time, he was the first man to spot the Sabres. In that formation of 4 aircraft, 3 people got Veer Chakras. Unfortunately, Swarus got left out. I think he deserved a VM for gallantry, at least, if not anything else. But Swarus is there, a very happy man, and we all meet once in a while and live our last days over a drink and remembering the old days. Sikand, our CO, has died. Bundi Shankar, our flight commander, has died. Pashupati, our adjutant, has died. So we are a handful of people from the Boira force. Bateja has died.
I think Group Captain Lazarus is alive.
Don Lazarus is the only one of the 2 Veer Chakras who was alive, because Roy Massey had a bird accident. He was hit by birds doing low flying and he crashed into the ground and died. And Ganapati, unfortunately, shot himself in Hashimara years back. So Don is the only one who's around from the VRCs of Boira.
Right.
But a great guy, a perfect gentleman, and a good man. As a matter of fact, the entire Boira force, and to name them at the moment, I will just name them. We have Brahmwar, I have got Baliga, we got Bhagwat, we got Velankar, Swarus, and we've got Tayal. You know, great force, Christopher Chatterjee.
And I guess flying officer
He was the people who
Bakshi as well.
Bakshi was a fighter controller. He's alive. He's in Calcutta. He's the man who controlled this battle. He was a fighter controller. He was based near Barakpur in 253 SU those days. He's still around. He got a VM.
Yeah, right.
So that's about the war. That's about a great day, and I'll be talking to you. Thank you very much for inviting me onto this particular channel.
It's such an honor to talk to you, sir. And I hope you also have a really good day.
Happy days.
Happy days.
Safe flying. Keep happy. God bless you.
God bless you, sir. Bye.